Assalamu alaikum, family. So the last video I posted, I was speaking two major things. One, separation is the best and only solution for the black man and woman in the hells of North America. And by black, we're talking about the Asiatic black man, the original people of the earth. So if you believe you fall into that category, let's get into that mindset. That's number one. Number two was strategy. Now, I was told to watch the movie, to watch it and also tell you to watch it. The Spook Who Sat by the Door. It's a very good movie in terms of strategy and tactics. Strategy and tactics. This idea of guerrilla warfare. That's why I came up with the name Guerrilla Genius, right? Because genius can be found anywhere and everywhere. It doesn't look a certain way. Now, but I wanted to go into two of the strategies that I perceive. Now, first, we got to look at the fuel behind the mindset. For one, my son ripped off the front, but if you can see that, it's called The Fall of America by Elijah Muhammad. Okay, so the fall of America. We knew this was going to happen. So when you know things ahead of time, you can plan accordingly. The next, Art of War by Sun Tzu. And on the back, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. That's the goal. How is this going to be accomplished? Now, I don't want to get into too specifics, but since we know this was happening, and we know that certain things need to happen in order for civilization to maintain. And by civilization, I'm speaking peacefully. Right now, what's going on is not civilization. This is hell. This is hells of North America. Okay. So let's speak on the larger picture. I don't know if you've seen it, but you can go find it. There's those pictures going side by side. You've got the first picture was, you've got a Caucasian man and he's armed. I believe it was at a protest or something of that nature, and he's armed, and he's got his hand on his gun, and then there's a police officer. It's a picture, and there's a police officer who's like, whoa, calm down, trying to mediate the situation, calm, right? And then next to it, you've got the police officer whooping the hell out of a black man or a black woman or a black child. And there's that hypocrisy there, and I believe that that's to fuel emotion. So when I see it, I might look at it emotionally, but then I take a step back and I say, what's going on? Now, it is exactly what it looks like. That is 100% hypocrisy. But to put those things side by side, that's not how I look at it. I don't look at it side by side. That's not what I do. Because then you've got the other one. And there's a whole bunch of pictures, videos like this. It's not the only one. You got the other one where you've got a group of Caucasian men, armed, heavily armed at that, on the footsteps, and they're protesting because they want to wear that mask and whatever. Now, again, and then you see the other side, and it's like, man, we can't protest and blah 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 blah, right? I don't look at it side by side. I don't compare the two. And this is the reason why. Because, for one, we've got to understand language. I can't say we. I attempt to understand language. I don't mean the verbal language. What I mean by is body language and the language of power. And the language of respect. What do these Caucasian individuals respect? They respect power. They respect authority. And not saying that we can't speak that, we can. But this is why I don't compare the two. I'm not gonna say like, oh, if we want what they got, then we gotta go ahead and arm up and this, that, and the third. I'm not saying that. Strategy. Subdue the enemy without fighting. This is how I look at it. I say, okay, there are, and these are two separate groups, But there are obviously unsatisfied Caucasian, mostly white males, in this country who are not happy with what's going on. They're not satisfied with how this country is being ran because it doesn't stick to what they believe. These is their beliefs, point blank, period. Because let's go back into history, right? What was this country built on? It was built on slavery. But the Constitution, that right there was to get out of oppression from Europe. So this country was built on violence and servitude. Okay? So we remove the servitude and the violence is already taken care of because that's how it was born. You cannot eat from a fruit which seed has not been planted. So the seed you plant, that's the fruit you eat. If this seed of this country was planted in violence and revolution, then that's the fruit you eat. Now on our end, this seed, this country was planted, the seed that this country was planted on our end was servitude, slavery, was oppression. So if we remove ourselves from that factor, then the only thing is left is for the violence to take place. And I don't want to be a part of that. I want to remove myself from the oppression. I want to remove myself from servitude. I want to be independent. I don't want to take part in the violence. Not that I can. You know what I'm saying? 100% capable. But to do a thing that's not necessary, I don't really want to do that. I want to do like Sun Tzu said, subdue the enemy without fighting. I want to remove myself from the situation and watch it all unfold. Why? Why do I want to do that? Because personally, I can commit myself to training, which, but I want to follow the teachings of the Most High Muhammad. He's already laid it out for us. This is Allah is the best planner. And He has the ultimate warfare. There is no better warfare strategic planner calculated than Allah. And my belief, the personal master Muhammad, has it all planned out 100%. And so I can't put it on you and say, hey, I want you to believe in my God. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. I'm gonna tell you how I look at it. I know that there is a group of unsatisfied Caucasian males who they want to stick to the Constitution, and they are willing to kill and die by that Constitution. They want to kill and are willing to die, and they have weapons. Now we can say, well, what if they turn the gun on up? No, get out the way. Because there'll be a time where they get what they want. We out and about building our own. And then a negotiation can take place. Like, look, man, you got what you need. We got what we need. Don't come over here, and we won't go over there. Because when it comes down to it, and these countries are born out of violence, we can't do anything to stop it. It's going to happen. It's science. My brother just said, every action has a opposite and equal reaction. It's just science. We can't mix oil and water and try to force those things to stay together. It's not natural. Things in nature don't do that. It don't happen that way. And we sitting here trying to force things rather than comprehend and understand. I'm not saying, right, wrong. If we want to have a just society, it cannot be built on injustice. And this country was built on injustice. It was built on slavery, servitude, death, destruction. So when it comes down to it, and there's that war, it's going to come down to justice and injustice. I'm not saying we ain't got to fight, but I don't want to fight if I don't have to. I'd rather things be taken care of for itself. Let them take care of it. And if it needs to, it's not like we're not going to be prepared, but I'm not going to rush to it. I'm not going to run out there and, let me get mine. If that's you, then that's you. Do what you have to do. Everybody can't comprehend the level, and everybody doesn't want to be patient, and they don't want to wait. You know what I'm saying? We got brutes, and we've got brains. I'm not saying that it's dumb. You got to do what you got to do. But I need, for my perspective, I have to understand my perspective. I have no problem, personally, sitting back, observing, and calculating my move, and then moving accordingly. I have no problem with that. And if you have no problem with going out and protesting, by all means, do what you got to do. I will say this though, in terms of strategy, if you would like to be more effective when it comes to business, and you know, they call it looting and stuff like that, right? If you want to be more effective in the long run, because this is absolutely very true, businesses do have insurance. So you tearing it down, it's not going to do anything in the long run. It says a lot, makes a big statement, but it's not backed by intelligence, right? So in warfare, you have to have power and force backed by, you know, a superior mindset. So when you're doing things and you want to make an effect, and this is what Martin Luther King said right before he got murdered. If you want to make an effect on a business, all those people who are willing to protest and loot, you just pick that business. You point at the business, you say, you know what, we got you. And then you spread the word and say, no, you know what, nobody patronize that business. If you're willing to protest and be violent towards it, then also be willing to not patronize that business. And you point to that business and you say, we're not going to support that business until, and then you make a demand. You say, we're not going to support that business until those officers are charged with murder, not manslaughter, murder. Or, you know, we are not going to shop from this business until, and this is another thing that's unfortunate, because as I'm going through my timeline, I'm starting to realize that not everybody wants the same thing. That's so unfortunate. You know, that's, personally, that's why I appreciate this book, because we can turn to page, I'll tell you the exact page. It's the program, page 161. What do the Muslims want? So we can go to this book, the Muslims, we can go, we say, you know what, this is what we want. But if we know what we want, we also got to know how we're going to get it. So if you're scrolling through your timeline and you say, or if I'm scrolling through my timeline and say, what do these people want? And you know what you want, how you going to get it? If you want things to go back to normal, I don't know if you're going to get that. If you want, you know, people to just love each other and blah, 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 I don't think you're going to get that. But if you want justice, that's what we want. How are we going to get it? We want freedom. That's what we want. How are we going to get it? So we can strategize on another platform. I just want to let you know in my mindset what strategy looks like. I'm not trying to run into no fight. No. It's like Bruce Lee. What he said. He said, I do not strike. When the opportunity presents itself, it strikes all by itself. He said, when be like water. When your opponent expands, you contract. And when he contracts, you expand. And so when the opportunity presents itself, you don't hit, it hits all by itself. That's a superior mindset. That's godly. That's not me running out to go do something. It's calculating and waiting for it to present itself. Yeah. Boom. We want rulership of this planet Earth. 196,940,000 square miles of the planet Earth belongs to the Aboriginal black man. Peace and love.